Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacalyn. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacalyn at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV, and hello to our friends listening on Business Talk Radio. I am Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is the United Kingdom news and culture. And sharing the stage with me, as always, every week, is our amazing talking head, Diann Floyd Boehm, who just gave an incredible presentation about imagination. If you missed it, please go over to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV. Go there anyway. We want you to stay there all day if you can. All right, let's bring her out. She's the international award-winning author. She is an amazing storyteller. We know that for sure. And she is a teacher. She's a performer. She is someone who leads her life through her heart. And she is my friend. Welcome, Diann.
Good morning. I haven't seen you in a while.
I know. Wow. That was an amazing, amazing presentation that you just did. How are you feeling?
Great. I mean, whenever I can tell a story and have a stage, yay!
You're on top of the bridge, so to speak.
Yeah, so to speak. But I'm so excited about today because I just want to listen and learn and discover about what's going on in one of my favorite countries, the UK, which is really several places: Wales, Ireland, Scotland, so many places.
So many beautiful places and so many amazing people as well. And a lot of fans that we have are over there in the UK, and we say hello and thank you to each and every one of you.
Absolutely. We love you.
Yes, we do.
American business.
I always love that wave, the Queen wave.
The Queen wave.
It's smaller, I guess. Smaller.
Yeah,
yes.
Of course, they'll have to tell us. We'll probably treat it too American. We'll find out what our guests say.
Definitely. Yes, they're not backstage yet. But let me spotlight you, Diann. And if you would share with our audience a little bit about your background and then also your connection to the United Kingdom.
Sure, I'll be happy to. Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV. Be sure to always watch us. We have the best shows ever. Anyway, I am Diann Floyd Boehm, a children's author, and recently have out my first young adult book. And my connection to the UK is really through my family genealogy that I'm extremely proud of. My family actually, on the Floyd side, which is my maiden name, came to America in the 1600s, and but stayed connected with England all the time. And then the Patrick side is Irish, and the Terrell side is Scotland, and the Harris side is England, and the Floyd side as well. So you could say I'm like hodgepodge of everything. And our parents taught us always to be proud of where we came from. Family history is the most important history, they always said. And so we were always learning about our history. And one more little snippet, for example, is on my daddy's side, his grandma, my great-grandma, her middle name was Bell, which was actually short for Belgium, because there's a little bit of Belgium in us. I always like to say the maiden names have some of the secrets to the rest of our connection to the world. So we never, ever want to forget our maiden names. And she was Amanda Bell Floyd, and actually Amanda Bell Bocook Floyd. So thank you, Dr. Jacalyn.
Thank you, Diann. Always something interesting that you share. It's amazing. Every time I see you, I'm like, what? I want to talk a little bit about Her Majesty, the Queen, and her reign, which has been amazing. If you think about something that you've done, what is the thing you have done for the most amount of time in your life?
Raising kids.
Okay. And so how many years is that overall?
Oh, they're still going.
That's right. So you're still helping them as a mother, right?
Absolutely. Isn't that the beautiful thing about parenthood, especially motherhood, is watching them grow, watching them fly. But when they need an ear, then you are a good listener. At least you try to be. That's probably the hardest thing to do with your adults, is to remember that you're to listen. They really don't want you to tell them how to fix it.
Well, that's a good point. And then we'll go back to the Queen. Is that really, I don't think anyone wants to be told what to do. People are open for hearing suggestions and comments, but I know personally, I don't ever feel good when someone writes to me and tells me what to do, or if I speak to someone, it kind of is like, oh, a little offensive.
Yes, exactly. Actually, that's when I turn off. I'm like, I'll do just the opposite. I don't
Exactly.
know what to do.
Exactly. So going back to the Queen, so she has been on the throne for 70 years, correct?
Yes, I mean, our entire lifetime. Like, okay, please, Queen Elizabeth, you must live forever because we love you so much. We don't want the world to change. You must stay with us.
She has so much grace and dignity. And when I think about our own country and how many leaders we've had during 70 years, I don't even know that. If anybody out there knows, that would be great to find out. But imagine what it must be like to be in the same role for 70 years and have so much responsibility.
I'm sure it must be overwhelming. It has to be overwhelming. I always like to say that you have to remember, yes, she's the queen. Yes, she's over this entire country and other provinces, but she's still a human being,
Yes.
But
Yes.
the history she carries. I mean, just before she even became queen, there was so many studies that she had to learn and understand before she took on this phenomenal role, which she, I'm sure, didn't plan on happening so soon in her life. But there's always a reason for something that we may not know, but we find out later as we move on in this world.
Yes, absolutely. And Diann, from being a performer, being on many stages and many pageants, that when you're in the public eye, it can be disconcerting in some ways. But imagine being in the public eye all the time, everybody analyzing what you're wearing, what you're doing. Well, why did she make this event? What's going on here? And always having that focus on you.
Yeah, I don't. I'm sure before the good Lord sent her down and they looked at different people and they were like, yeah, Diann, no, that you do not belong in this area. You won't be able to handle it. But here was this princess in heaven and they were like, yep, Elizabeth, get ready, right? Because she does, carry it with grace and charm, and whatever is probably bothering her, she keeps it hidden. I think for all performers, actors that really make it, if you study, for example, I always go back to Elvis Presley because I loved him so much, or even Karen Carpenter. She, died at 32, and as she once said, it's so tough that when she's home, and Elvis was the same way, when they're home, they get to be them. But the moment they step out their front door, all of a sudden they have to have this persona and they have to have this certain look. And sometimes they just wanted to be themselves. And I think it's very, very tough.
Yes, I agree with you. Well, just imagine just in on our platform here, if I showed up without any makeup on, that would be frightening to begin with. Or if I showed up in my yoga clothes with like my hair in a genie do. Nobody wants to see that, right?
It's just something they imagine. And so they imagine you to be a certain way. So we all make sure when it's time for us to be professional, we have this certain look. But again, if people saw the true me, especially in the summertime, and actually before that, because I'm behind on planting my bulbs, my iris bulbs. I have some bulbs that have been planted for a couple of years, but I need to get out there and do that before we have one more cold spell, I'm sure. And so you'll see me, out there in the mud. It's my favorite thing to be out there in the mud and just playing around and digging and planting and patting. And that's enough to scare anyone. I don't even think birds come around me.
It's official news. Diann Floyd Boehm is slinging the mud. All right. So our guests are backstage, our special expert correspondents on all things UK. I'm so excited to see them. We were just speaking about the Queen, and they can give us the straight on information as they are right there. We're going to welcome Helena Chard and Pelham Turner. They are internationally renowned broadcasters. They together have done, I think, over 3,000 shows, and they have this great chemistry together. The way they work together, I know that they're bringing people from all over the world together to share their stories, and they're a big reason of how this platform has grown the way that it has, because they've introduced us to so many people, and I just can't thank them enough. Let's welcome them to the program. It's Helena Chard and Pelham Turner. Welcome, friends.
Dr. Jacalyn, Diann, happy to see you again.
Happy to see you. We're so excited that you're here. We were just talking about the Queen and her 70 years in reign, and what that must be like to be in the public eye and doing the same job. We were just saying that here in the States, I have no idea how many leaders we've had in 70 years, but one role for 70 years is incredible.
It's incredible. It's amazing. And I think, there are lots of things that we always are not too keen on that are happening here, but the one of the exciting things is Her Majesty the Queen. And, she's just so lovable. I was speaking to Ian earlier, and it doesn't matter what you're slanting on the royal family. Everyone I speak to, they love Her Majesty the Queen. I mean, she really does give. She's twinkly. She's become part of us. And she's like, the Commonwealth's grandmother. That's how we view her. We feel protective of her, and goodness me, 95. We're so looking forward to all the celebrations, which have already begun. As you know, there are things happening. But she's actually reached the milestone now. So that's the exciting which is just amazing. So 70 years on the throne. She's renewed her pledge, which she made in 1947, which was to serve us and to serve the Commonwealth. So and the good thing about her, she's so thankful. She remains eternally thankful for everyone's generosity. She's humbled by the love that she receives, the affection that she's given all the time. So, and just that in itself is lovely. And because we're seeing more of her now, via Zoom, and just little bits of information, and just she exudes love, and I think people are relating to her even more. So it's been an exciting time. Lots of people are asking us questions. I think some people are slightly perplexed at her wish. I'm certainly not, which is the fact that she used her speech as a way to express her wish that she wants Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, to be Queen Consort, so no longer Princess Consort, which was sort of given to her to be in 2005 when they got married. People are they're not sure about it, but having worked with Duchess Camilla, she is a very generous person. In fact, aside you know, obviously we have our favourites, but, you know, I would say that she's the most generous with her time. You see that she really looks after Prince Charles. He absolutely adores her. She's brilliant for him. She doesn't sort of put herself forward in a bragging way. She's just there as a support. But she always joins in conversation. She always wants to know about people. You know, she doesn't shy away from things. So as a photographer, she's fantastic to photograph because she looks at the camera, which is amazing, whereas lots of people will duck away from it, which makes it harder to capture that picture that you want to get. But she's not put a foot wrong. And I think, you know, all the conversation and the doubts, it harks back to Princess Diana. And you know, Princess Diana, late Princess Diana, I think, you know, unfortunately she passed away about 25 years ago or something. Have I got that right? It's a long time ago. And funnily enough, Jenny Bond, who's a friend of the royal family, someone who she's another correspondent who speaks a lot with the Duke of Cambridge and Her Majesty the Queen. And she actually has expressed that Princess Diana, and it's something that people don't realise, in fact, when things passed, you know, she'd not been with Prince Charles for a while, even Princess Diana said that Camilla needs to be known in future as Queen Consort. So, and that's something that people don't realise because they always thought that she was absolutely anti it, but I think in the end she realised that how good she was for Prince Charles, and you know, if she says it, then I think everyone has to move on and support her. So I mean, it's a, you know, there's lots of talking going on, but I think the best thing is amongst all this Carrie and Boris Johnson, there's all these trickles of hope. And it was just so lovely watching her as well, opening her cards and looking at everything. And there's one particular card which said, "Mum, your tops." A very simple card. And it was a big card and it had a lot of publicity on UK TV. And somebody had gone around and they found all the tops, like the top of a milk bottle, top of the Diet Coke, all these different things, and put it in the middle and made it pretty. But it just was, it gave that sort of impact, a bit of jollity, a bit of fun. And that's the one thing Her Majesty has. She is extremely funny. And the funny thing about it as well is the one thing that myself and Ian know is her attention to detail is huge. Now, every event that she puts on for diplomats or even just social gatherings, she will always oversee everything to the last minutiae detail, which is lovely. So nothing is done without her say-so. She casts an eye over everything. And a recent photograph as well taken by Chris Jackson, photographer, very lovely picture is her in her office with her little red box where she goes through all her paperwork and everything. That's spectacular. So it's just, you know, it's all about Her Majesty. And I think people are just pleased at her support and, you know, the camaraderie that goes around it. And we're very excited about all the exciting celebrations that are coming up later in the year. So that's about Her Majesty. I don't know whether anyone's got any comments or any...
I do have a question, and this might be, I probably should know this, but the fact that she will have the designation and the title as Queen, does that mean that she has an opportunity to be in reign? Is that the right expression?
Well, I mean, he's the one that's going to be king. So
right.
So he is going to be king. I mean, in a funny kind of way, I suppose she's almost viewed as queen, but she's not going to be queen. She's queen consort. So she's there just as, you know, just as Her Majesty the Queen had her husband, her late husband, Prince Philip. It's a similar kind of thing. So as you can imagine, and that's the reason for doing this as well, Her Majesty didn't want there to be a problem further down the line. So she's been quite clever in bringing it up now because it's her wish. So everyone wants to, you know, wants to make her happy. And it's so important that Camilla does support Prince Charles, and obviously we don't want to think about years to come, but it surely will come. You know, we need Camilla there supporting him.
And it's quite funny at the moment. There was this wonderful clip this week with the Queen and one of her ladies in waiting, and she'd been taken over to a table to watch or look at her cake that had been baked especially for her centenary. And the cake, being explained by the lady in waiting, was upside down, so that the photographers could actually get a picture of the Queen looking at the cake the right way up for their photograph. And she turns around to the lady in waiting when she's being told that the cake is actually upside down, and this is the reason why, so the photographers can actually take a photograph. She said, "Well, don't worry about me. Don't worry about I can't see the cake properly." You know. She was throwing this, quip into the and she's got, sometimes she's got a very good sense of humour, and she can sort of play very deadpan, but in reality, she's just trying to just make a bit more of an occasion, a bit of a sort of a television. I think she's becoming a TV star, I think recently, this is probably, I'll probably be sent to the tower for this, but I think she's become the Merry Widow. If I'm really honest with you, I've never seen her smile so much in years as she has. The colours that she's wearing. When you compare the situation to the Queen Mother, I can't remember the Queen Mother wearing really colourful clothes for a long time after her husband George VI had died. But the Queen, my goodness me, talk about rainbow colours at the moment. It's which is good in some ways as well. But as I say, I think the Queen being the Queen, everybody will love her. We're looking forward to June. Helen and I are planning an event ourselves at the moment for June as well, and I think it'll be great fun.
Thanks for sharing that. And you were talking about photographing various people, and we've had, since we started together, some incredible photographs that you've shared. I don't have them handy right now, but we will for future shows. When you think about it, what are some of the memories that you have that you captured in photographs that really stand out to you?
There's so many memories.
Yeah.
I think for me, I really, really enjoyed, I enjoy everything. And I do love the charity events that we're invited to as well, where we can get some lovely pictures. But I think it was an outdoor event, and it was the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, their wedding in 2011. Was it really that long ago? Goodness me. And it was a fabulous day. Everyone was in such good spirits. It was sunny. Everyone was smiling. We've been there for such a long time. Ian has actually been there even longer. But we're all really, really happy, and everyone was smiling. That day, Her Majesty the Queen, I think, was at her smiliest. And she had that bright yellow, beautiful Angela Keeley dress and her hat and her brooch. I don't know, it's about the feeling as well. And just the coach coming by, and we got some good shots. And then I think there was all the media spin that went with it, because myself and you did so many international interviews, and my photographs were shot around the world. And it just was that whole experience. I think that's it. Sometimes it's not just about that one event, it's about everything that goes with it. So it was fabulous. For Ian, I'm not too sure.
I think, I've got memories of the Queen, obviously, but I think one of the best photographs I ever saw that Helena took as well was on the steps of St Paul's a few years ago. And I forget what the event was. I don't think it was Margaret Thatcher's funeral.
Oh.
And the Queen, obviously, basically, when you walk to St Paul's, it's very steep step, and there's about 12 very steep steps. And as she got to the edge of the steps, she didn't look round. She just held her hand up, because she knew Prince Philip would catch hold of her hand and walk her down the steps. And I think Helena got one of the most incredible pictures of it. It was just this wonderful moment where she had put her hand up, and she knew that Philip's hand would be there as well. and it was just the look of comfort and happiness on her
It
face.
sums up, because Her Majesty the Queen always said that, you know, her husband was her mainstay, her rock. And I think that one picture said it all, didn't it? So yeah, I think so too.
So-
I'll blow my own trumpet, why not?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, and you will. So can I say something, Jacalyn? Can you bring yourself back?
Yes.
You have a Hollywood look to yourself now.
Yeah.
Your hairstyle, I would describe as Veronica Lake peekaboo style this afternoon. You
I like the name.
It's rather, I don't know whether anybody even knows. I mean, I go way far back, but there used to be a very famous Hollywood actress called Veronica Lake. And she created the peekaboo style of hairstyle. And your hairstyle this afternoon just reminds me of Veronica Lake.
Peekaboo. Well, you know, you've been with me since I had my hair cut really short, right? It was long and then it was really short. I couldn't believe how short it was. And now it's at the perfect length because I get to wear it up all the time. And I have all these pins and things with, you know, jewels, things hanging off of them. So I just like having my hair up. But thank you. I appreciate that. It's a nice compliment. And by the way, I remember seeing that photograph. That photograph is amazing. We have to share that with the audience.
It's the iconic photograph of Veronica Lake. So, I think one of my favorites, I have to say, is I love the movies. I don't know what Diann thinks as well. I love the movies of the 30s and the 40s. For me, in some ways, although that would make me 80 or 90 now, so I was
showing your age.
I'm a Beatles hippie myself. You know, that's how I sort of see myself in my head.
With his suit and tie, he's a Beatles hippie. That's funny.
Now, Helena, I have a question. Since you've known Ian for a long time, do you ever see him in a hippie-like outfit?
I wanted to make something up there, but I just couldn't. No, he occasionally will dress down a little bit. Mind. In fact, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do a makeover on Ian. He's going to come back, and we're going to have him here, and you can see him in different guise. I have to say, it's a little bit dark here, I can see. We're going to have to do something with the lighting, but Ian's going to come back, and he's going to be...
Not today, by the way.
Okay, not today. We'll make him at least smart casual. We won't go too cash.
Oh my gosh, I would love it. We can go to a commercial break and we can have a fashion show with Ian.
I'm sure you would, Jacalyn. I'm sure you would love it. You ain't gonna have to go.
It won't happen today. Not today. We will do it in the future. Come on. His son's coming as well.
Oh yeah, come on.
You can't wear a suit and tie your whole life. It's going to be really hot soon.
Well, you know what? It's also, I think it's wonderful to see a man in a suit and tie. I really love that. When the United States, especially in Florida, and this is, I think, probably 20 years ago, people started getting so casual, just like, I don't know, were you sleeping in that? Are you going jogging? People just took it to a whole new level. And I remember that when I was in corporate and they were, HR department was sharing what the new rules and regulations were. And they had the dress code in there. You may not wear sweatpants with elastic around the bottom. I'm thinking, really? You have to put that in the dress code? Like someone's going to come to work in corporate? But yeah, that's the way that it's gone. So it's nice to see a man who knows how to dress.
Bless you. You've saved the situation yet again, Jack.
I'm going to hear about this for weeks.
Diann, what are your thoughts in Texas? Are people, and we're just generalizing. Do you find that men are in suit and tie? Is it coat and sport coat? What do you typically see?
Well, if you're speaking at work, so if you're an attorney like my husband, obviously you're going to be wearing the whole suit and tie and so forth. If you're at Apple Computers or any high-tech company, and it could have changed, but this would be me going to Apple because I did a lot of work with them. Then, of course, it was all about jeans. They dress that way. Mm-hmm. But on the street, a white shirt and jeans is like the cool thing to wear. For me personally, I love dressing up. So especially at church, I'm like all about the hats. So I just said, the great thing about living in Dubai was I was around all the beautiful British people and you didn't go anywhere without a hat. So I decided I'm back home and I'm old enough. I'm going to do what I want and I wear my hats. So I'm actually trying to bring hats back in style. But yeah, I think people are just a little too messy, and I get very excited to see a man all dressed, beautifully, and a woman dressed sparkly. I have this thing when I was teaching, I would tell my parents, meaning my classroom parents, that I want your kids to dress to learn. Because when you come to school and you are dressed to learn, you're going to be thinking, if you're dressed messy, for some reason, you're going to not do as well during the day. So that's sort of my motto. What do y'all think, Ian and Helena?
You would have liked one of the hats I helped to create one time. And yes, I did. I used to work with Philip Somerville. Philip Somerville was the Queen's milliner, the Queen's hat maker. And I was talking to Philip one day, and it was coming up to Ascot when it's his busiest time, because then all the royal family, all the very wealthy people who could afford his hats are finding new hats to go to Ascot with. And I said to Philip, I said, why don't we create the most expensive hat in the world? And he said, what do you mean by that? And I said, well, let's. One of my other companies was Asprey's, who were the Queen's jewellers. And I said, why don't we talk to Asprey's and create a diamond encrusted hat, which we duly did. And the diamonds on the hat and the hat itself was £750,000.
Whoa.
So,
one of those.
We then thought, well, this would be a great idea. We took it to Ascot, and Asprey's had about 20 security guards around this model wearing this hat, because they were, and so nobody could see the hat of these giant bodyguards that were surrounding her all the way through. But I'll never forget, she was quite tall, the model, but she wasn't tall enough. And people were wondering who on earth was this woman surrounded by about 20 bodyguards. But so that's my Philip Somerville story with the Queen's hats.
What happened to the hat?
What
Ian stashed it.
Yeah.
Party at Ian's house.
Needless to say that afterwards, the jewels went back to Asprey's, and Philip Somerville, he was such a nice person, and he was always so surprised when the royal family wore his hats as well. And he would keep a collection of photographs of the Queen Mother and the Queen and Princess Anne and all the different people. And Diann, I think he did some hats for as well. And he was just one of those very genteel people, very unassuming.
Oh,
We lost him for a second.
He'll
It'll pop
be
back.
So, Diann, when I was in London, I was going to ask them this. We had a tour guide. Thank you. Yes. Tour guide who took us all around. And we actually went into this amazing hat shop, and they would only let so many people. This is before the pandemic. They'd only let so many people in because it was very narrow. And I saw some incredible hats, and they were very expensive. None with jewels or anything, but
yeah. What's really fun is to go into a hat shop where they actually make the hats as well as sell them, because the people that make them, they measure you all around, so that depending on the style of hat, that it really fits you and shapes you in such a way that your beauty comes out. Hats can be so flattering, and they do the same for men as well. So a couture hat is pretty cool. I don't have one, but it is cool.
Well, I think for our next show, we'll have some hats on for the fashion fashion, travel, and fitness. But we're going to take a break, and we're going to hear from the debutantes. If you want to follow them on Instagram, just go to The Debutantes. It's Victoria and Lavinia, and they are sisters. And I just thought of it because Ian was talking about being a hippie, and they're kind of in this mode of
that's perfect,
carefree and beautiful. So here's to Helena and Ian for introducing us to Victoria and Lavinia. We'll be right back after this break.
No, I can't think. More of a traditional hat. I mean, there's been a few woolly hats because it's been cold.
Yeah.
And in fact, the phase that there's a big thing at the moment because you have these lights in the hats at the front. Have you seen them? I don't know if you have them over there. And they're actually really good fun because if you want to, for instance, Diann, if you're out and it's slightly dark and you've got the hat on with the light, it's very good when you're out in the garden doing things.
Like a spotlight, like a miner's cap where they had the right.
Yeah, not quite like that. No, it's a little bit more finesse to it. But
okay,
it's very nice just having a little light there. It's actually good for families as well and children. You can imagine because if you're out and about and it's dusk, or it's just I'm a fan. In fact, I put my hands up. I bought mine at my local garden centre.
I'll have to look for that.
Yeah, I actually do love hats. I think they can, but I do think you have to have hats suit certain faces, I think. And sometimes, I mean, I've got a friend who desperately would love to wear hats, but his face just does not suit it. It's one of those things. Sorry, I'm not going to mention who it is. So,
you know who you are out there.
I noticed years ago. Now this is going to talk against me now because I've got a very big head.
Oh, boom, boom.
Da, da, da.
I knew you'd make fun of this. In size, and so it's very difficult for me to find a hat that would fit anyway. And I don't think I really suit hats either. I don't think I've ever really worn a hat. The only time I ever wore a hat was when I got married and you had a morning suit, and even the hat then was just carried underneath my arm because it didn't fit my head.
Oh.
And they couldn't find a hat to fit my head. So I it's one of the things you have to bear in your life. One of the sorrows that perhaps you don't fit hats. But I think when ladies wear hats, it just gives them that extra little bit of appeal. and that extra sort of finishing off point. So I love seeing ladies wear hats as well, and I think and I could see a fascinator or something on Helena.
I love fascinators.
We have over here. We have Ascot, which is which is it's a day that everyone looks forward to. But I have to say, each year we I don't attend. It's not something that I go to, but each year we see the photographs, and I think everyone tries to outdo themselves. Everyone else with their outfits and their hats, and it's becoming quite a grand occasion.
And the day that everybody fears at Ascot is Ladies' Day.
Yeah. I was talking about Ladies' Day. It is hilarious. Some of the pictures that you see are so funny.
Because the ladies feel that alcohol and horse racing go together.
When I lived in Dubai, I only knew about the Ascot races by being in My Fair Lady when I was younger. So when I went to Dubai, and of course, England is all over Dubai, thank goodness. It makes it just so beautiful to live, the beautiful British people. But Ascot is huge. And so we also would have the big horse races and ladies' day and night. And boy, I really learned. I needed my hat, the proper dress, the proper shoes, and then there was a contest. So do y'all do contests too?
They do. I mean, I think over here that it's who's got the best outfit and the biggest hat. Some of these
the biggest
are enormous. I mean, some of these cover them. It's funny. It's a fun time.
It is quite funny. But Ian, I want to share with you. I think you look really great in a cowboy hat.
Well, bless your heart. Bless your heart. I might talk to your optician, but.
She said you would look great in a cowboy hat.
Oh, a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Oh yes, okay. Why not? Why not?
Well, because you have the right forehead for a cowboy hat. So I think that's the problem. You haven't put on a cowboy hat.
I would love to come to Texas because it's one of the parts of America I've never visited. And obviously, I go back to the days of JR and Dallas. And I worked, and I forget the guy's name now, who really played JR.
Larry Hagman.
Larry Hagman. Good for you, Helena.
But Larry Hagman, after he'd been shot and was JR killed, he came to London. And I worked with Larry Hagman in London, and we were all trying to find out from him then. And he was probably one of the best people ever to work with. He was so funny, and he absolutely adored things. And he basically had $1,000 notes printed with his face on it that he used to give out to the crowd. And of course, he was mobbed in London, and he loved it because this was at the height of who shot JR, and there were bets being taken across the world at that time. And I just get the feeling with Texas again, that I think it sounds like it's a great part of America as well.
Oh, thank you. I'm very proud to be a Texan. The one thing I always have to share with people, and I'm sure you're quite aware of it, is how huge our state is. And so if you visit down in the valley, that's a whole different world than Dallas, like you referred to. And even Dallas is close to the Panhandle, but the needs of the people in the Panhandle are so different. And then, so I live in Austin, just to give you a perspective. From Austin to El Paso, which is going west, that is between 12 to 16-hour drive.
Wow.
From Austin to Nacogdoches, where you're almost going to Louisiana, and that's another 12-hour drive. So can you imagine driving from one point, El Paso, all the way to Nacogdoches? So when you come, you better plan to stay a long time if you really want to know. Because if you ask someone up in the Panhandle, if you said, "Oh, you've been to Texas," and they say, "Where?" and you just say, oh, I was up in the Panhandle area, then another Texan would say, well, honey, you hadn't seen Texas because you hadn't gone down to the valley.
I'm thinking, I don't know, I seem to be remembering somewhere that Texas has the most amount of millionaires in America. Is that the case?
I think California would be like really mad at you for saying that. But I think oil-wise, that's probably a possibility. I really never kept up with that because I don't really care.
Is it still like a cattle state as well? Because we remember the imagery of things like that. So is there still a lot of cattle in the state as well?
Absolutely. I mean, we're so proud of our cattle, and I get very upset with the suburbs being built in some areas because and I guess I'm showing my age, because I'll drive by and go, oh my God, where are the cows? And even when I go back to the small town I came from in Deer Park, I'll go down the main street and I'm just like, I'm so sad. The cow that I used to sing to, not only is he not there because he probably would die. Hopefully he didn't turn into hamburger meat, but yeah. But there's no cows because everything became houses. And when I was younger and we go for walks, and only the cow would listen to me sing. So I was like really in love with this one cow. I hope I made you laugh.
Yeah.
And do you know, the one thing, I worked with quite a few of the cast from Dallas. And do you know what? This is at the height of their fame as well. And JR's wife, Ellen, was it Miss Sue Ellen?
Sue Ellen.
What a lovely lady she was as well when she came to London. So I think, so some of the cast came over for different things. And this, they could have been prim and proper, but they weren't. They absolutely adored being as part of the series. They adored being promoting Dallas and Texas as well. And they just, and they really adored the British audience adoring them.
Oh, that's really great. Well, when you come to, I hope both of y'all come, and you come up to Dallas, it's really changed the area, where it was filmed, but the house is still there, South Fork, and it is fun to go to. I know one friend of mine of Australia, she came up and I gave her a big tour for a couple of weeks, and we went into South Fork, and we made sure we went when hardly anybody was there. So we had the whole place to ourselves. So we just pretended and had all these pictures taken of us sitting out on the porch, having some tea as if we owned the place. So hopefully that can happen with you too.
So Diann, it's a set, this house, it's not someone's.
It's a real home. But it was purchased, and now you can go and visit South Fork, and it's fun to see. And they have a Longhorn, and you can go to the different places where they had different things going on in the storyline. But yeah, it's really fun. I think y'all would like it. But back to the cattle, I just want to share with you. So, for example, my son's wife, his parents have a small a head of cattle, just around 400 cows, but still.
What? That's small? That's small,
right? And another friend of mine, he considers his small, and it's my husband's and my friend, and they have just a little over 1,500 heads of Longhorn. So, but that's considered small by Texas standards, just an FYI.
It always makes me smile when Americans talk about their backyard, and sometimes their backyard, it can take a day to get across it.
That's funny that you said that, because one time I was up in Rhode Island, and that's the tiniest of our states. I mean, you can spit across it. And I was up in Maine for the summer with my family, and we were enjoying the beach, and I met this lovely woman from Rhode Island. She was a grandma watching her children, and we of course got to talking because I don't know a stranger. And so she was saying how she was going to have to drive her kids somewhere, and she just hated driving for 15 minutes, blah, 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 blah. And I looked at her and I said, well, it's a good thing you don't live in Texas, because for some people, 15 minutes takes them that long to get out of their driveway.
Isn't there a very famous women's movement in Texas as well? You know, I've forgotten the name of it now, but it was it something to do?
Women's Institute.
Yeah, there's it's sorry, it's gone out of my head the name of it now, but I think it started after the Civil War.
You know more than me. A Women's Institute. There's several in Texas, but we have some all over the U.S. depending on what the topic's about.
Yeah.
But yay! I'm glad you love Texas.
One part of Texas that we haven't mentioned, and I'm just looking at the time. I know we have a show right after this, but San Antonio.
Oh yeah, it's just down the street from us.
That's a beautiful place. When I was in corporate, we did a lot of events there. Mm-hmm. The river or something or other.
Yeah, down by the river. So Helena and Ian, when I say it's just down the street, so that's just about an hour drive. Just so you know.
You say a day's drive.
Oh my goodness.
There was the famous battle, wasn't there, in San Antonio?
Yes, I think so.
Goodness.
Are you talking about? Did you say castle?
No.
Battle.
A battle. The Alamo, of course.
Oh.
The Alamo.
Alamo.
It's. I love Texas history. I don't know if you knew that Texas was its own country at one time. Did y'all know that? By chance?
No.
Yeah. So we're very proud that we were our own country, and Sam Houston was our president at the time. And when we decided, quote, the people of that time decided to join the United States, the only way they could join was we had to give up a lot of land. So at one point when we were our own country, and it would be so cool in a way if we still had all that land. Can you imagine? Because New Mexico, Colorado, part of Arizona, Nevada, and some of Oklahoma was all part of the country of Texas. Really? Now that's a big country.
Diann,
we're supposed to be talking about the UK, so.
No,
there's so much going on in the UK.
Yes, and I'm so glad, Helena, with what you that's okay, with what you shared, because it's really exciting what's going on, and it's important for us Americans to know, yes, we can have opinions about things that happened a long time ago. And Princess Diana, of course, I followed because we were about the same age. And so it's like, I got married at the same time. We had children at the same time. But again, life goes on, and there's beauty in everybody. And I'm so grateful for you to share that piece of beauty about the Queen concert. I think that's lovely. And we just here, I would like to say that we just keep wanting to have this platform so that we can learn and appreciate the beauty of not only some of the things in the past that we see from, learning history, but also things that are going on now and the understanding of the future, because England is so beautiful and your country brings beauty to everyone around the world. And I truly, truly mean that. And I'm very grateful for everybody that teaches me all the time about your country.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Diann. Yeah. We like Great Britain too.
Good. Well, I'm glad.
Can I ask a question? I mean, obviously, because of Diana as well, do you think Americans will accept Camilla in reality, or do you feel almost like Meghan as well? Do you think that in some ways she'll be accepted but not revered?
That's an interesting question, because I think if you saw the series, The Crown?
Yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem, unfortunately. The Crown has posed a problem to Prince Charles and Camilla because what it's done is it's used bits of history and embellished it, and obviously embellished it in a way that people will frown on what happened during that time, but it's not 100% true. So on top of everything else going on, it's battling that little bit, and obviously everyone loves The Crown, and we all love The Crown too, but it's not 100% fact.
Well, I know we have to go. I just want to throw out there and answering the question too, and thank you, Helena, for saying that, because in a way it was historical fiction, right, in some parts. But there will always be people who will have a negative view. But people who are intelligent enough to use their brains and study and learn and know that now they're making factual comments, they will come to love Prince Charles and his wife. And we're all human beings. They had a love affair, and actually, if everything you read, it was an incredible love affair. Journeys happen, things go, but I would like to think that America will welcome them and be appreciative, and I like to think that we have enough brains to know to do that.
Yeah, I think as well a key thing to mention. One, I mentioned about Jenny Bond, who's very well known over here, and was a friend of the Royals and Princess Diana, and the fact that Princess Diana said, yes. Camilla deserves it. Camilla deserves a platform for her to say it, and that says something. But also, Duke of Cambridge and Prince Harry, they attended the wedding, I think, in 2005, and Camilla's been very supportive. They've been supportive. She's been a great stepmother to them. So, if they can accept what's happened, then surely everyone should see that.
Amen. And that's a beautiful note to end on, Dr. Jacalyn, with them. It shows with Princess Diana that forgiveness in her life moved on, etc. And for all of us to move on. Hey, you guys in England forgave us for becoming the United States, and we moved on, right? You still love us.
Who said we've forgiven you?
But I do have my tea.
Oh my goodness. Well, on that note, we have to wrap up as we have another guest waiting for our next show. I'm going to spotlight you, Helena and Ian. And if you would like people to reach out to you, who would that be? And how would you like them to contact you?
It'd be lovely to hear from anybody who wants to chat or anyone that wants a platform. We can talk, about that. I think probably hcpresenter@gmail.com. Just a simple email address will be fine, and you can find them on social media as well. I say thank you, and I can't believe the show's over. I don't know where the time went. It suddenly flew.
It did.
How does the time fly when you're having fun?
For sure. I'm just typing up this banner. How about you, Ian?
I mean, Helena's the best person. The problem with me, I get about 50 emails an hour.
I also get loads of emails. Let me tell you.
So passing on to Helena is the best thing. And we're all over social media if people want to contact us, and we're always willing to work with people and support people, both in Britain and overseas as well, to actually try and build bridges and bring companies and people together.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you again for being here. By the way, Simon wasn't able to join us this week, but he'll be back next week. He had an important meeting. So we'll look forward to having him back again. Okay. Thank you for taking the time and being with us. It's wonderful. And let's have some photographs for the next show.
We'll look for some footage and some more light, I think.
Yeah. And new hairstyles and hats and this and that. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Okay, take care, guys. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Diann, what's the best way for people to reach you?
Just my website, diannfloydboehm.com, and everything that you need is right there. Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn.
Fantastic. We will be right back with fashion, travel, and fitness. And we've got a wonderful shoe designer who is on standby. She is in Dubai. I think it's the middle of the night there. So we're going to close out and then welcome her. Thank you again, Helena and Ian, for being here. And thank you to all of you. As I mentioned, we have 9 shows today. And if you missed any of the ones so far, just go over to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV. And if you want to send me a pair of sneakers for my aching legs, no, I'm kidding. No. I stand for. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you in probably 2 minutes. Take care.
Bye-bye.